Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Arkham Asylum. And apparently we have no network connection, which is interesting to say the least because as far as I can tell, Arkham Asylum only uses the online connection for uploading online leaderboard scores for the challenges, which really wouldn't require a pop-up here. I don't even a quick Google search didn't even have any talk of like a de novo anti-tamper that would be programmed into Arkham Asylum. De novo certainly was in at least the last fourth game of the Arkham Asylum series, and then eventually taken out. I believe the thing about de novo though is that you are constantly um, you're constantly paying a license fee to continue to have de novo in your software as far as it seems. And so as soon as it gets outside of the launch window of the first 6 weeks to 6 months of a game, or as soon as the game is cracked, they tend to completely remove that. Oh, I think I have just realized what is going on with that triangle, by the way. Like right now, you see my mouse cursor. But then, when you get out of this menu and into the main game, the mouse cursor is a different mouse cursor. What terrible programming that is. So that weird little triangle that was up here was the first mouse cursor that stopped being the main mouse cursor. So if I move it off to my second screen and hit start, which yes, the game did just throw me out of the game because it lost connection, which is bull. It is incredibly dumb. Let's go back here a second. 48%? How could we be 48% done on this game? That implies that there's gotta be a whole bunch more stuff. The challenges, that's why. Like, you have to do all the challenges if you wanted 100% mode. And let's just take a brief moment to kind of look at, as we're approaching the end here. Here we have Harley Quinn in her odd outfit that in no way looks like the way Harley Quinn would look nowadays. And they're not going to allow for your standard upskirt shot particularly too much. Yeah, because you can't really switch the angles on this, at least. So what would be interesting is if we go and look at like Warren Quincy here. Now it's the same viewer as far as all that. Not a lot to say about Warren Quincy, just a unimportant Warren Quincy Sharp, not an unimportant character. Commissioner Gordon makes so much more sense if Commissioner Gordon was the kidnapped person throughout the entirety of the section of the story where somebody was kidnapped. Frank Boyles, a kind of unimportant character who's killed very quickly. Poison Ivy in her weird outfit. You can definitely see her underwear because that's basically all she's wearing. Although this is not actually the outfit that she's wearing in the game. She was wearing a black pair of panties that did not have a green leaf element to it. This is actually covering up more than what is shown in the pre-rendered cutscenes. I think even the amount of cleavage there has been reduced somewhat. And I don't think in the pre-rendered cutscenes it has an Arkham symbol on the background either. So these models are not direct depictions. Here we have the inmates who look like psychopaths from a horror game, something like Saw, way more than characters that would make sense in the Batman universe. Here's the Blackgate prisoners with their 3 body models and two skin types and some variation on their outfits and masks and clown paint. There's definitely Scarface here being shown with Joker, which that's not a scene that I think we'll see depicted at all throughout the game. This is kind of ridiculous that they decided to go with that. Definitely some sexism going on here though with the outfit. Like a lot more skin being shown on even Harley Quinn, who has really high boots and a very short skirt and a corset that mostly covers her stomach but not completely, but then pretty large amount of cleavage. Then look at Quincy Sharp. Like, he is from neck to toe completely covered in what you would probably describe as a two-piece suit. Yeah, that's a big difference. Here we have Aaron Cash and some guards merged together. The guards are not visually interesting enough. I'm fairly certain, have the exact same face model every time, and they really should have just completely blacked out their faces so you couldn't see them at all. And the guard outfits, as I'm looking here, don't seem to be any different. It seems to be pretty much the same gun, same outfit. So it's really just two of the same guards, although one has been given a slightly taller build. So that's as far as their funding went, is to give an inch or two in height. You can see their hips don't quite line up directly, but that's it. And then as far as Aaron Cash, he's got his hook hand, and then there isn't too much else interesting about him at all. Like, what would be really weird is he has this hook hand, so he would need some kind of assistant, like taser, gun, something. Like, he's not actually capable, not to be mean, but he really isn't capable of being a security guard. Having the loss of use of one hand is just too risky. You can see here he doesn't even have a gun on him. He might be perfectly capable of watching security cameras and things like that. Zsasz actually gives us some skin because you kind of need to see some of that. And he's got this tattoo on his back, which that's interesting, certainly, to have a tattoo on your back and then indulge in scarification like crazy. His outfit makes no sense. There's really no reason why you would be holding someone in chains like this. It really does just again reinforce the idea that the Arkham Asylum that we're seeing in this game is basically brutalizing and extremely cruel to the people that are being held there, instead of helping them or even attempting to help them. Which we don't need the people who are supposed to be the good guys in a Batman story to also be bad guys. We don't need a story where everybody's a shade of gray even. Comic books are supposed to have that binary idea of the good cowboys have white hats and the bad cowboys have black hats type. I can't actually zoom up or angle enough to see his Venom backpack on Bane here. Bane again showing some skin to show off his bizarre scarification. There's definitely no beefcake as far as it's concerned. Like, the most good looking male character in this game is Boyles, and he still has a scar and a dead eye, and I don't know if the argument is Batman and Bruce Wayne are supposed to be the most attractive person. Like, he certainly, as Batman, has some small appeal, and he's got that broad chest concept that might appeal to some people. I think it's more just a comic book trope. Really muscular men. trope, basically. It's not that good. And then we've got the Batmobile, which has Bruce Wayne / Batman in it. Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a playboy, so he should look really good as a character. A lot of this feels like the female gaze was not taken into consideration when this game was made, and that's probably the truth. They probably did not care or think any females would buy a Batman game. This Batmobile's fine. There's not a lot here. I don't like the purple lights on it. I don't like that there's 4 holes on the side that aren't like bat symbols. I don't like that you can see the inside of his wheel wells. I guess is what it would be called. Can't really zoom in or anything, so there's not a lot here. There's no license plate on the Batmobile. There's no weapons. There's no bat symbol. It's pretty generic. As far as downloadable content, we have Totally Insane, Nocturnal Hunter, Crime Alert, and Scarecrow Nightmare, all labeled as new and going to stay as new because I'm not gonna play them. And then challenge modes, let's see, we have Intensive Treatment, Silent Night, Sewer Bat. I know we unlocked some of these. Record Breaker, Shock and All. I think we barely had one unlocked when we last were at the main menu. And then clearly there's some things I haven't done because these are locked, but then these are unlocked. Intensive Treatment Extreme mode. So they're telling you just play the whole game a second time or do the challenges a second time. These challenges are in particular, we'll play them later. They are the things that are going to probably require way more butt mashing, and I just don't think I'd ever want to do that. So good news that I walked through this door, otherwise we would have well loaded back to this door. Wouldn't have been a big change. We still have some collectibles in this area that we probably can't get, and we still have like one Metroidvania thing to get. It's really not even worth it to go into detective mode right now. What we're trying to see is if we're going to have another Scarecrow section, which would be reasonable to run into, and that would be a way of us speeding up this process, or if we're just going to have to walk through the exit of the botanical garden. We're getting some weird lack of sound effects in this area, which you kind of would want crawling through a vent to be quiet, but you also wouldn't want it to be so quiet. You want some minor.
Screw you, Bat. We turned on the phone. You're trapped over there.
Yeah, not so special now, are you?
Why don't you just walk over here and stop?
I think he's scared.
What's he doing? He's close away. Get him on him!
Both of those guys moved, and I just knocked one guy directly into the electrified water. I think I did. So now spaz out and throw these things. It's weird. The first time you went and used the Line Rider ability, which we might as well just play in detective mode here. You can just take down.
He's got the formula. Just gotta wait our turn.
When I get it, I'm gonna rip his head off and stick it outside City Hall.
I don't think there's a line.
Up top, in the treetops, in the flying rune we know he is. It looks like he's left you a gift up there.
So, let's see. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that guy. So instead, I'll just do this, and then do this, and then get up here, and then hang under here.
Oh God, he just vanished.
It's not perfect, the system.
Three
Like-
against one. Feeling lucky?
What are you doing?
Like, it really isn't as good of a system as it should be.
What the hell are you?
So, like, you can kind of rush through this way faster than you might expect. And my new ability,
Up in the air.
he saw me,
Anywhere.
which is strange.
Can't see him anymore.
And there he had the full lining up shot of me, and it still didn't matter. So for 2 back-to-back fights, we used our new ability, but this ability wouldn't have really done anything in this room. So there was a lack of thinking, certainly, in that. A lot of these rooms feel like they were cut and pasted together. As the budget continued to run out, and we're just gonna run out the door. 'Cause yeah,
I want him dead. I won't let him hurt my babies again.
I can't believe you left poor little Ivy crying in a garden. She looks so sad.
so now Poison Ivy is not working for you and telling you she told you the information that you wanted to hear, but who's to say she told you the truth? And she's now trying to kill you because you hurt her plants, which hurt her directly, way more than it should have.
A little tight. Oh, gotta say, the results are a little different. Shall I give her another? I think she wants it. They don't call you Ivy for nothing, do they, dear? I was hoping for a 40-foot killer plant, but you don't always get what you want, do you?
So now Ivy is getting turned into a monster, and we are crawling through a different area to escape, I guess. I guess they just wanted to make sure that you had gone through that section, but I think I came through that section, or I just found it before. So are we gonna have a big boss fight outside of the world? Jeez, it seems like he could have just climbed over all of that, because we went in a full circle there to leave. Yeah, this
Titan
is...
must be having a different effect on Ivy. Her plants are growing. They'll soon be out of control.
This is a sequel concept, really.
Looks like the plants are mutating further.
So the world has changed a second time. I did
That
say...
pod appears to contain similar spores to the ones Ivy used to attack Gotham last year. They're deadly.
Let's see. Like, I think the idea of Ivy coming out and doing something that would change the way the world works is a smart move. But let's see, how is this going to work? Cores must be destroyed to render them inactive. Well, that's not going to do it. Alright. It's ridiculously easy to defeat these on easy. Like, they killed those. One assumes you're not supposed to blow these up. No, it just says destroy the pod. So he's just gonna punch him. So walk up and press A. Rather ridiculous that it killed that guy in one hit, although those guys are pretty weak anyways, and yet it barely did any damage to me at all. So basically it's just hit A, punch, get 25 experience for your effort. And they're gonna potentially hit you and hurt you for kind of an insignificant amount of damage. Yeah, this... It's putting a splash effect that they would have been very proud of when the game first came out over your screen, but this isn't really doing anything. It does open up an interesting idea as far as... Come on. Yeah. It's just really weak, these enemies. Like, at least on easy, the pods are really weak. I was thinking more you'd have a Metroidvania element. Like, clearly somebody played Metroid Prime as they were developing this game, because there was a giant plant section in Metroid Prime, and it makes sense. But I do feel like these pods should either be doing a lot more damage, or there should be some kind of mini game, something more than here's a pod, just punch it to death. Core must be destroyed to render inactive, and I assume I did destroy these cores. And what was the point of rendering it inactive? Like, where are we even going? We're going to the Arkham Mansion. And is this really a case of the game blocking off some other directions? Is there something blocking this way? No. Seems like we could go and wander around the open world if we wanted to. Collect plant spores from Killer Croc's lair. Talk to Aaron Cashin in the Arkham Manor first. And of course we're just playing this. Let's see. Explosions does nothing. Pretty sure there was a statue here. Yep. But that didn't introduce any new riddles. So this hardly is a refresh of the overworld. Or frankly anything. It's kind of nothing. Maybe we will get into Arkham Mansion and things will be slightly different. It doesn't seem like there's a synergy between what the Titan Spore plants are shooting out and the Scarecrow gas, or the Joker gas particularly. We definitely have a red appearance now, so perhaps it's weird that Poison Ivy would be the red appearance. So perhaps the idea is that we have to be careful not to fall down there and die. Which, okay, that slightly changes the experience. It doesn't really change the experience, it just kind of reminds you that to go places you've already been. Like, one assumes you're not supposed to just fall down and die. Seriously? Yeah, it is poison. So well, that worked awkwardly towards my goal. And then we kind of hover this way. And so we're just doing a swap and a swap. Yeah, again, this is something that should have happened in a sequel. The idea that Poison Ivy escaped, and as such, she's now the main villainess. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. Well, it actually seems like it's relatively safe over here just to climb down to this. So the smoke got less smoking. These guys are just walking around it and they've got nothing to say.
Figured the worst was over.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if I wanted to go to the left or right and get the collectibles, I'd have to work through some areas that would be kind of a mess. So why not come back later when I have more abilities and the plants are probably going to be dead and gone.
What's the deal with the plants?
It's complicated.
Let me guess. Poison Ivy. She teamed up with Joker.
All that matters is that I can stop the plants.
Not
taking
that
over the
complicated,
island.
really.
There's always a but, isn't there?
Batman doesn't even
Where do
want
you
to
keep Killer
confirm
Croc? I
information.
found a door in the sewers, but it's sealed shut.
That monster's got his own special cell. It's right below the transfer room back in intensive treatment. Elevator goes right down to an old sewer. You just drop meat down there every day or so and try to forget about it. It's locked off. More security than the Joker. You won't get in without the warden's permission. He has the codes.
Thanks, Cash. Stay here and do not go near the plants. They'll kill you.
At least he's giving some slight instructions to Cash. Like, so, yeah, if I wanted to go over here and get that collectible, or go over there and get that collectible, I can't even do it. I think the truth is, who is this guy?
Never thought I'd see a plant. A freaking plant ripping someone apart.
So, just a non-character as far as I'm concerned. Let's go ahead and look at the map and zoom out, and yeah, we're going back to intensive treatment. Yeah. It's pretty obvious they didn't have this programmed very well. What was that animal that moved? Like something just moved. I don't think it was a tree. is the bats. Yeah, the bats are still flying around and interacting oddly with the plants. So bats not affected by the gas. Yeah. I still kind of feel like we're not going to have a boss fight with Ivy. This is it. I feel like we're probably going to defeat some giant plant monster instead in the sewers very quickly, and that is going to be the end of the entirety of the entire Poison Ivy part of the story. Just little ideas I imagine were thought up early in development, and they really wanted to fulfill them, but they just ran out of money, as far as I can guess. Yeah, we're going back to intensive treatment, which would be kind of silly to go through the Arkham West section, so we'll just go. Oh, take note that all those spores are completely gone, or dead. Like they just disappeared. So they are already done with that, and we'll just slide all the way this direction. And that's certainly a time saver, but not something I think is good. So we will choose not to IVY takedown on the guy with the taser and tase the guy ourselves. So I was looking at these guys with the security detective mode. I didn't even see that they were wearing security outfits. That's something they probably should have done a lot earlier. But honestly, Batman acts pretty much the same way I just acted, which is to say he attacks first and asks questions later. So I just assumed. Like, and there's no point in this game where they would punish me for that, so why not do that?
Batman, every route into intensive treatment is locked, and there's nothing I can do to bypass the security.
There was a sniper up on the roof. He got there somehow. I'll find a way.
Alright. So let's not deal with the plants for the moment. Let's get up here. And what we need to do is something like this. And then you have a drop down ability, and then we can just smack this guy like crazy. And then freak out and throw some Joker teeth. Right. So that takes that guy out. Meanwhile, we've got, let's see, a couple of things we might be able to actually get right now, and a whole bunch of plants that would give us a small amount of experience, so we might as well smack them now. So, if we run into any psychos, these guys are not synergizing with enemies. If there was a plants in front of that and and some new Joker spray paint. Like, if these guys were right next to other kinds of enemies and that made it more difficult, then I could understand the mutated plants, but they're always by themselves effectively, and with my level 5 armor they are nothing but a joke. Alright, so did we get everything? Let's go up here and look around. They should stop glowing after I've used them. Alright. Now I need to be down a little bit lower for this to work. But clearly this is what they want you to be able to do, is hit it. We've been waiting a long time to get to this. Let's do that. Find that one Riddler trophy. And then let's just look here and make sure that there's nothing else. Alright. Land on this. Interesting. Why can I climb on this edge? There's kind of nothing else there. Right. So my only thought was that maybe there was a certain height in which I could be to hit that breakable wall. It would basically have to be on that rock, and I don't think this is right. Yeah, and definitely is not switching to that. So there is still some kind of remote ability, some remote explosion ability that we haven't figured out. So yeah, back up here we go, and I imagine as long as the game thinks there's something behind you, you can just do this. Now, in all fairness, there might be a pod across the way over in that direction. We didn't really look. Is it really worth it to go and look? I don't think it is right now. We still are missing abilities. And we're going back to intensive treatment with most but not all of the abilities that we would like to have unlocked. So it is possible that we will still have something we can't access. We didn't have detective mode. We do need to make a good effort to get all the Riddler's puzzles. Is that supposed to be Ivy?
Activity all over Arkham Island. You okay?
Ivy's plants are taking hold. I've got to stop them before the entire island is under her control.
Yeah. This. Let's see. Seems like there's a couple different pathways. Let's start with the most obvious one and see where this goes. These ripping off steel grates as a lockpick QuickTime event kind of sucks. You don't see Batman in a lot of comic books spending a lot of time kicking open grates. Let's see. Over here. Get over here. So now we've got Sewer Bat Extreme unlocked. I seriously don't feel like this is the I don't feel like this is a room we saw when we first entered the game, so like feels like they're changing things and retroactively adjusting. Although I guess we didn't see this room, did we? We saw a different room. And we're not going through the entirety of intensive treatment unless we find a secrets map that then makes us want to go through the entirety of intensive treatment, and I don't know about that. Like you have two negative factors in this game that make you kind of want to give up early and not play to 100%. One being the challenges, which if you're playing the full story and enjoying the story, you're not going to want to take a break from the full story and then play the challenges while doing the main story. So play it like I am playing it effectively. Or if you're kind of bored of the main story and you're taking breaks of the challenges are only going to provide a small distraction for a while until you've accomplished a challenge to maximum perfection, and then you move on further.
Are they ready? Have you planted the explosives yet?
Razor's just finishing his off now.
Good. Let's test them out.
No! No, I'm still up!
So they're blowing up some, but not all of the... they're blowing up some, but not all of the gargoyles. We are doing a room that we did very early.
You sure about that?
And
What? What do you think is gonna happen?
I just hope he stays away, that's all. I don't want any more trouble. Joker's nearly done. Then we can all get the hell off Freak Island.
Yeah.
Huh? We got to get out of here. It's up there, above us.
alright, so that's not gonna work. Alright.
I lost him. Flake him.
There we go. Like, there's a decent number of people here for me to...
Could come from anywhere.
Alright, so...
He's gone. He grabbed us. He could be anywhere. I'm moving round him.
So I'm just taking damage here. And that's pretty much all I can do. Like... Here's the problem, you're not going to you're not going to be able to
I'll watch your back.
here we go, we've got something that we can hack, which so either you can sneak here, you do that. Alright. Alright, here we go. I taking out a little bit of people is not enough. And you basically can't sneak through this.
I told you to stop the bat. It's important.
kind of...
Have you looked up in the control room? No. Or maybe you should.
You heard Joker! Get over here, everyone! On me!
The guy just runs right by me.
Batman! He's here!
Alright, so we're down to one person that we can just run towards and then beat. That's awful. It's downright terrible as far as a performance. And then my entire health gets refilled after this whole section. So we're back to where we are, where we kind of have to be. Will these blow up? Yes. So, yeah, you no longer have the gargoyles, which were slightly helpful in gameplay, and now they want you to play it much more like a standard Metal Gear game, which sucks. Let's see. Just go and pull this down. I don't know if there's any collectibles in this area or not. I imagine the answer to that is probably no. Imagine each of these were little vents. And is there any like Riddler challenge or anything in here? No. So if I don't see something, I kind of have to assume it's not here. But there definitely could be a vent or something. And that just walked me into a fire pit. And the bathroom is blocked off. They're trying to make this more linear. They've got a dark room that's just blocked off as an unfinished bit of design. Like, I feel like I might as well just do them all. Let's just blow up all the gargoyles in a room, see if there's possibly an achievement for it. It's not particularly set by like how long you're on the gargoyles. They just are activated and then they explode. And we came in through that area, and over there is an area too. Yeah, over there we'd go to Arkham Island East, which is not where we're going. This is also a section of the map where I don't think it particularly does a good job of checkpointing you. So we turned off these lasers, and then we'll go through a door in detective mode. Hook up with your relatives before they're transferred out of here. Alright, well, we did save in case we lose connection to the internet again. We are on the verge of getting an upgrade. In a weird way, maybe the sonic batarang actually is a good idea. The sonic batarang, I believe, only works once, but maybe it doesn't. It doesn't seem like that's the case. Is there anything else that we really want to upgrade? Just batarang power in general, which might come in to help, or combo batarang. Let's go with batarang power next. And then Riddler's challenges and collectibles, and then one mystery item which might be an upgrade ability, and 3 potential character bios. If we go over here and we see that there's 1 mystery item in intensive treatment, and then 1 mystery item in the caves, And then I think no other Mystery Island items. I'm saying the wrong word here pretty badly. Yeah, that is somewhat believable that there are two items that are Metroidvania Mystery Islands. Maybe the Bat Jet shows up again and gives us yet another ability, or I mean, there could have been a Bat Boat, I suppose, that shows up also. They just want to do the full Batman 76 canon of having all Batman 66 canon of having all kinds of different Bat vehicles, which is kind of ridiculous in modern Batman storytelling. While one would assume Batman does have a Bat Jet and a Bat Boat and a Batmobile, you probably aren't going to see much of any of those in bothered to be drawn because they take too much effort to draw. Also, that initial mouse cursor is back where it was. It does just reset in what I can only assume would have been the 0 location as far as the pixels, if it was a 4:3 image, which this is an old enough game that it probably does support 4:3 resolutions, even though we're looking at a 16:9 image right now. But that is certainly particularly weird, the way the mouse cursor appears and it is just defaulting there. And yeah, you can see the mouse cursor in the menu, but it does disappear when you're outside of the menu, and then when you go back to the menu it goes back to where it was. Weird. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. I imagine we're going to fight Killer Croc and the Big Plant, maybe both at the same time, and then that'll be it for the Poison Ivy element of this game. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more pods in Arkham East and, well, Arkham West, and maybe even I missed a few in Arkham North, but they're, like so many of elements in this game, so unpolished and so unimportant that I kind of don't care that I missed them. I'm losing maybe 100, maybe 200, yeah, maybe even 300 XP by not looking for them and defeating them. But I'm getting way more XP for just playing the game normally, and I have plenty of XP anyways. It feels like unless they rush us to the end rather fast, we will unlock 99% of all the abilities. And maybe we're totally wrong about this and there's another 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, and that would be really weird. We'll just have to see. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.